Hi everyone, my name is Nick and today I'm going to show you guys how to use the IF function inside Microsoft Excel. This is actually a pretty easy function to use once you understand exactly what's going on. So if you do find this video useful, you know what to do, and with that said, let's jump on over to Microsoft Excel. Okay, so here I am just inside this blank sheet. And what we're going to do is just put some dummy information into here. So I'm just going to start with something like number and let's just say name, for example. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, and then what I'm going to do is just use this auto fill down to 10, for example. Then I'm going to just give some names. I'll go put some of these in here. Let me try to think of some people and then names. Let's go find some others. Let's go with and that'll do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically going to do a check, and I'm going to use the if function for this check. Okay, so and I'm going to do this in a way that hopefully makes it very clear and easy to understand. So the first thing we need to do is actually click on the equal sign to open up a formula, and then we're going to go and type if, okay, and then open up a parentheses, a bracket. Okay, and the first thing that we have to do is give the formula a logical test, okay? And what we want to do is we're going to check this list of names, and we're going to basically find out if this name is equal to something, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say, click on this cell here, so B2, is it equal to, so using the equal formula, and then in quotations I'm going to say Dan, and then close those quotations, okay? And that's the logical test. We're basically saying, does B2 equal Dan, okay? Then I'm going to put a comma. The comma opens the second part to the function. This function is basically saying, if B2 equals Dan, what do you want to do? Okay, so I'm going to say, in quotations, yes. Okay, and then I'm going to hit comma again. And this is the last part of the function. This function is all about what happens if B2 does not equal Dan. What do you want to do then? In quotations, I'm going to say no, okay? And then I'm going to close a parentheses, a bracket at the end, and press return. Okay, so now I have this very simple if formula that basically is saying, does B2 equal Dan? If it does, I want the word yes to appear. If it does not, I want the word no to appear, okay? So it's a very true and false statement. Either B2 does equal Dan or it does not equal Dan, okay? Now, what I can do is grab this formula and pull it down this list, and we can see that this one here actually returns true or yes, whereas all the other formulas in this list does not return the correct value, okay? So we have no, 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 yes, no, 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 and no, okay? So this is your first example, okay? Or I should actually just call this example 1, okay? And I'm going to pull this across to example 2, which is why we have numbers. Okay, so this works if you're looking for a certain text string, okay, and then you're able to return whether or not it is or is not that value. If, however, we wanted to say, okay, what about numbers? We want to know if a number is greater or less than a specific number, then we can use the if function as well. So what we're going to do is equal if, open up a parentheses, and this time we're going to choose this number, so A2. And then we're going to say, is A2 greater than, let's say, 8, okay? And then we're going to hit comma, okay? And this is if A2 is greater than 8, what do we want? In quotations, I'm going to say greater, okay? And then I'm going to hit a comma again, and this time it's the value if it is not greater. In quotations, I'm going to say less than 8, okay? And then close those quotations, and then close a bracket or a parentheses at the end there. Press return, And we can see now that this is returning less than 8 for everything that is not a 9 or a 10. Okay, and those are two very easy to understand examples. You can obviously make it a lot more clearer if you, instead of using a text string in this particular function, we can say, okay, equals if, open up a bracket, this name here equals Dan, so the same as we did in example 1, but this time, instead of doing anything fancy with true or false, we don't have to do anything here. We could just leave those blank and then close it off, and it's going to give you an example of a binary code. Actually, it's not doing what I thought it was going to do. So instead, we can just actually write true in there, and we can write false in there, and we can basically now pull this down, this list, and we can see everywhere where the value is true or it is false. Okay, so does B2 equal Dan, true or false? And that's basically what the if function is doing. It's basically looking at it in a binary sense. It's either it is or it is not, and there's no middle ground. Now, obviously, you can make these if functions incredibly complex. However, if you're using Microsoft 365, there is a function that actually is so much more efficient and easier to use, and that is actually called ifs. And if I open up an equal sign and type ifs, we can see that basically ifs lets you have multiple different logical tests, and you don't have to put in anything for if it does not equal, only if it does equal. Okay, so for example, does this name here equal, in quotations, Dan? If it does, then we'll type great, and then we can close that off, okay, and press return. Now you get this NA error on anything where it does not equal Dan, okay, and only show you where it does equal Dan, okay. Now, the thing with ifs that makes it so much more powerful than just if is if you hit the comma again, you get a second logical test. So instead we can go, does B2 equal Chris? Okay, if it does, great. And then we can close that off. And now we have two logical tests happening, okay? If I go in for an example 5, using the ifs function rather than if, we can use numbers in this criteria, in this logical test, okay? So we can say, is a 1 greater than 5? If it is greater than. Okay? Logical 2, is a 2 less than 5? If it is less than 5, it's less than. Okay, and then I can close that off, press return, and we can now pull this formula down and we can see all the ones that are less than or greater than. Okay, very easy to see. Now this one here is number 5 itself, okay, which is neither greater than or less than. So in this example, we'd actually add a different clause. We can actually go and put in a logical test number 3, where we can say, okay, true. If we just type the word true, if it is true, which it always would be, we can then say, in quotations, 5, or because it's a number, it doesn't even need to be in quotations, 5. Press return, and there we go. We have the letter 5. And we can pull this down and we can pull this up, and that formula is now going to result in either less than or greater than 5. And it cannot break, it will have no errors, and ultimately it's just a little bit cleaner in terms of if functions. So what you might want to be tempted to do is actually have several nested if functions, but actually if you have a 365 subscription, you can use ifs to remove the need of having if within an if within an if, right? And what I mean by that is if we go if, open up a bracket, this is greater than 5, then we'll type greater than, okay? And then if it is not, people then go, okay, well, if it's not greater than 5, is it less than 5? They go if, open up a bracket, this number here is less than 5. They go, okay, well, it's less than. So in quotations, they'll type less than. Okay, and then they'll say if it's not, then they'll go and then type in that last clause in quotations is 5. Okay, and then close those quotations, close the bracket, and close the other bracket, press return. Okay, and now this function is a lot more complex, okay, than our ifs function. Okay, so we have 2 logical tests using 2 different if functions, one for greater than, one for less than, okay? Whereas our if function has those 2 logical tests, and it's either greater than, less than, or is true. And basically it cleans out your formulas and makes it a lot more easier to digest what is going on and how to actually use the if function correctly. Okay, so hopefully, guys, this was an easy enough way to understand how to use the if function in Microsoft Excel. If not, let me know in the comments below if you want me to kind of go over any more detail. But ultimately, you know, use if you only need to test one criteria. If you're having to test multiple criteria and you're on a Microsoft 365 subscription, then go and try the ifs function out. It's very simple to use and understand. And let me know how you get on in the comments down below. As always, if you found this video useful, you know what to do. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.